Right now my dog is pulling bamboo out of a pile in the yard, and it is the cutest thing I've ever seen. It's like 5 times as long as he is. He's ridiculous.
Where are you, bud? Show everybody your stick.
Okay, so I'm filming outside today because it's so gorgeous, and Mike is running the Roomba right now and it's really loud. I cannot tell you how much I love this weather. Like, it's like 75, I'm gonna get up to like 80 actually today. I think we're actually gonna go to our friend Kyle's pool here pretty soon. But I just wanted to share with you guys some kind of cool stuff that's been going on with me lately, because I know I've been doing a lot of vlogs and I've been kind of taking a lot of time off, and that's been kind of because I've been going through sort of some personal stuff, and I do feel like this is going to be kind of a personal video, but I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope that, you know, at least one person gets something out of this, because that's, you know, that's all you can really hope for. So if you do, leave me a comment below and let me know, because, I mean, this is kind of a really good conversation starter, but also, you know, give me a thumbs up and stuff like that, so that, like, basically that just tells YouTube's algorithm to, like, show it to more people for the certain things that might be part of the content, and I think this is something that, you know, would be positive for other people to find. So, all that said, I know that you guys have seen me in videos before, usually like with a glass of wine, and I would never have called myself somebody who had any kind of like drinking problem. I don't think any of my friends would ever have said that about me. Definitely in college, like, I think everybody, not everybody, but I definitely went through that phase of just like kind of like pushing my limits and seeing, you know, like how gosh darn drunk I could get kind of thing. And I have to say that, like, even though I've never gotten in any kind of trouble about it, or damaged property, or hurt anybody's feelings, or anything like that, that I know of, I just started to kind of like feel, in a way, that my drinking habit was something that I didn't have complete control over, and that, like, that I was really alone in that I was like, I got kind of worried, because it would be like, okay, well, you know, I know my limits, and I don't like getting really, really drunk or anything like that, but, like, I would be, like, driving home from work, and I would feel this, like, tug to, like, stop at the grocery store and get a bottle of wine, because I was like, well, I don't want it right now, but, like, what if I do later? And it was this really odd feeling. I was like, well, what if I do? Like, who cares? What if I don't have it? But it was like this really strange, like, fear, like, am I going to have, like, a less good night, or am I going to be bored, or whatever, if I don't have that, you know, glass of wine, which would always inevitably turn into two glasses of wine. And then it got to where it was kind of like 2.5, 3 glasses of wine, and then I would be like, oh, I need to dial back, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, inevitably, it would kind of, like, it was this cycle where I would just kind of, like, have to talk myself out of it, and then be like, no, you're a really, like, strong-willed, smart individual. You can drink and control yourself, and, you know, you like drinking and all this stuff, and, like, there's such a culture surrounding it, and it's been something that I've kind of, like, known my whole life. My family never had any, like, stigmas about drinking or anything like that, and so, like, you know, as soon as we were of age, our parents let us drink with them and stuff like that. We've always, you know, been able to kind of take things in stride, you know, not be judgmental about each other and stuff like that, but it was really, like, a personal thing for me, where I was like, am I really in control of this? Is this something that is, like, getting progressively worse, even if it's, like, really, really slowly? And so I kind of made this personal decision, actually after listening to an episode, oddly enough, of Throwing Shade, which is the podcast that Aaron Gibson and Brian Safi do. That is, if you haven't listened to it, if you haven't heard me talk about it on here before, like, go listen to it. It's incredible. But it's not, like, by any means self-help. It's two very smart, very funny individuals just talking about, like, current events and stuff like that. So oddly enough, they had this guest. Her name was Nikki something, I can't remember, but she talked about how she didn't drink anymore. And, you know, she doesn't sound like she's that much older than I am. And I was just like, okay, well, that doesn't sound like something that, you know, someone my age would be talking about. And she's like, you know, she read this book by Carr, and it helped her quit smoking and quit drinking. And I was like, okay, I've heard of this guy before. I've heard, like, old interviews with him on NPR. He is actually dead now, so, you know, he died in 2006, but he put out all of these books that claim to help you quit or control alcohol, or quit smoking, or there's even one about, like, how to enjoy flying. I don't really have any problems with that, but I was just really curious, because, you know, everybody says they're so miraculous, and so I was like, okay, this is like a big $11 on my Kindle, I'm just going to download it. And so I did, and the more that I started to read it, the more it made sense to me. Like, this guy is not a good writer. Like, he's an accountant, And like that's like, I feel like that kind of goes even more towards this point because like he's not really like a practiced like write to convince kind of person. He's not like a career writer. And so he's really just like a guy talking to you in his own words, trying to get his point across. And it's just really honest and really straightforward and flawed and really effective. And summing up the book is really, really unfair because it really matters what order you read it in and what state of mind you're in when you read it. And like, I totally like leave that kind of thing up to him. But I can definitely say that like, you skip over all of the deprivation mindset and the cycle of going, you know, well, this is something that I like, and if I stop doing it, then I'm going to be less happy, X, Y, and Z. Like, in this really aware, awakening, non-phony baloney kind of way. And I have come out of it exactly like they said that I would. Not just being like, oh, okay, now I have a lot more reason to stop drinking. It's like, no, now I feel more confident and happier and healthier, more optimistic about the future because I don't want it. And I can't say enough about it. So, again, I don't want to give away a lot about the book because I think that it's important to read it and for you to be in the right mindset to do it, because there's no point in going after something like that if it's not something you want. You know what I mean? You're not going to pick the book up if you're not like at least a little bit curious, and you're not going to be at least a little bit curious unless you kind of feel like you get something out of it. But I mean, it's funny because, you know, you read any review that anybody writes, and usually it's been like maybe a month, you know, since they read it, and they're like, no, I'm confident I'll never drink again. And it's like, the only way that you can really say that is if you're able to return to a mindset of before you drank. And that's what it does. I feel like a teenager again. I didn't drink when I was a teenager, and also I feel like a teenager in all the good ways. There are lots of things about being a teenager that I'm glad I never have to do again. But it's just this really kind of like pure optimistic mindset that it puts you in, and not in like this temporary like church camp kind of way where you where, you know, you get done and you're just like totally invigorated and inspired and like, oh, well, now I'm going to go live my life X, Y, and Z, and then it wears off. Like, this is just very, like, almost like you don't really feel anything. It's like an absence of urge that you're like almost kind of like arrested by. You're like, wait a second, like, I thought I was supposed to feel more, but you really feel less burdened, and it's really cool. So the book I read is called How to Control Alcohol, or The Easy Way to Control Alcohol, which is kind of funny because I was thinking, oh, you know, like, I'm not an alcoholic, like, you know, I just want to learn how to control it. But like, you know, it gives you options, and it teaches you kind of like, you know, how you think about things. And like, that was the decision that I ultimately made, was that just, I don't need it. And like, I'm 28 years old. I've now been drinking for, you know, a solid 10 years. And I can safely say, like, this is not something that I want. So I don't want to like force this mindset or this book on anybody, because I really do think that like nobody is going to quit anything unless they take the initiative personally. But I just want to say that if anybody is feeling sort of insecure about their control of their own drinking, and, you know, either to a small extent or a large extent, like, even if you've like gone all the way through AA or anything like that, like, this book is definitely what I would recommend to take the first step, because it's the only step. It's amazing. And I think that people that want to stop smoking could probably benefit from his book too. I was never a smoker, I don't know, but if it works in the same way that this does, I can guarantee you'll feel like $1 million afterwards. And that's exactly how I feel. I feel like I enjoy things more, and I'm really, really excited for the future. So that is my piece on the book. I will post a link to it on Amazon, and definitely, if you do read it, it's a super quick read. I mean, it took me, I think, 3 or 4 days. Not a big deal. And just let me know. Leave me a comment if you've heard anything about it or anything like that, because I think it's a real life changer. It means the world to me right now. So, yeah. And again, if you like this, like repost it, give it a thumbs up, just so that people can find it. And I'm gonna go hang out with my dog, who is slapping the table with a giant piece of bamboo right now. What are you doing, Ollie Bear? What are you doing? So I love you guys, and I will talk to you as soon as possible. Bye.